All right, pop into the chat room. Give your thoughts, everyone. We are live. 71-70 Cincinnati with a minute 54 to go. UCF just hit it and one. Houdini's in the kitchen watching the end of this game, or rather his studio's in the kitchen. He's actually in the living room right now with a couple of buddies, watching the end to see if the Bearcats can pull it off. They're up 71-70, a minute 54 to go. Welcome, everyone. Let's do it. Here's what we have for you. The Corona Light's ready to go. We're drinking it regardless. Victory, celebration, or drinking away the sorrows. But we got limes. We're cutting up limes if we win, baby. 71-70. Knights at the free throw line to tie up the game. It's tied up. A game that was a 14-point Cincinnati lead in the second half. It's starting to look like West Virginia all over again. This team is the most inconsistent squad in the country. It's starting to piss me off, folks. Minute 50, Bearcats have it. Day Thomas. And after the broadcast debacle a few weeks ago where I spilled the beer, we're not opening this up yet. Jizzle James. Strong take all the way to the bucket, and he lays it in. The freshman. His dad's in the crowd fired up. Some random dude that they pulled up on the ESPN Plus broadcast. We'll get into that in just a little. They showed NFL Hall of Fame running back Edgerrin James. There was one problem. It was some dude that worked at like a Little Caesars. It's 73-73, a minute 19 to go as UCF knocks down a jumper. How are we feeling, folks? How are we feeling? All right, let's get this shot up and ready. Box score looks as such. Victor Lockett hasn't even played for Cincinnati in this game. Not a single minute. They've been going with Josh Reed at the 4. There has not been any too-big lineup. We've been begging for it, and the Cats finally gave it to us. No too-big lineup, and they're still out-rebounding UCF by 14, 44-30. Bandego has 12. Lukosius has 10. Skillings has 15. Most of those points in the first half, and we'll get into the rest in just a little bit. But we got an end of a game to break down. Not Dan Horde, but Chuck Walter on the call from the basements of Lombard, Illinois. 73-73 with a minute 19 to go. Simas Lukosius, the trigger man in Orlando. Jizzle James, full court press coming. Beat the trap. Beat the trap. They haven't had too many issues with this press. All right, Skillings has it left wing. 20 on the shot clock. Lukosius. Driving, hands it off. Bandego has it stripped away, and they call a foul. Aziz, Mr. Money from the free throw line, is going to the stripe for 2 to put Cincinnati ahead. And this may be the game that the Don Julio is coming out. Maybe. We've been waiting all year to crack it. I said Xavier. Bear with me. We're getting a new camera up. All right, how does that look? Much better. There we go. Bandego. Free throws. (73-73), 101 on the clock. Missed the first. Second one is up and in. Bearcats up 74-73. Stop. Get a stop. $52 to go. Sellers has been great for UCF. He's got the ball. He's got 15. Step back. Good D from Jizzle, and he missed it. It stays here. Stays there, I should say. 39 to go. 20 on the shot clock. Cincinnati 74, UCF 73. Wes Miller is sweating, to say the least. Bearcats are sweating. If Cincinnati loses this game, for those of you that haven't been paying attention too closely to UC's season, it's over. It's over. Houdini and I are playing the bagpipes, and we'll see you next year. Actually, we'll see you for the conference tournament because they'll have a chance then. But this is it. It's 1,000% over. Wes may say otherwise post-game. No, this is it. You lose, you're done. Joseph Meehan is Edgerrin James. Apparently everyone's Edgerrin James. And then they followed up to start the second half, and they said, out of nowhere, they weren't even talking about Jizzle. They're like, Edgerrin James is in the crowd today, and every UC fan's like, well, then show a video of him, because whoever you showed in the first half was not Edgerrin James. It was some random dude. They just found some guy that was pretty big and had a chain on. They're like, it's Edgerrin James. That's Jizzle's dad. No, it wasn't. It was probably like Biggie McLean's cousin that happens to live in Orlando and was going to a game. I mean, Cincinnati has held UCF, I should say, has let UCF go for a robust 48% from the floor. That's a robust shooting percentage. 36% from deep, only 4 of 11. But the rebounding total, Cincinnati out-rebounding UCF by 13, is one of the big reasons why UC has a good shot in this one. Cats are 7 of 26 from deep. That's 26%. They've not been great. Shot clock at 20. UCF has it. Sellers will trigger. One stop. They threw it too long. It goes out of bounds. It's Cincinnati basketball. Woo-hoo! Let's go. All right, so since he has it with 35, technically they can run it all the way down to 5 seconds. You would imagine UCF will probably foul here, especially when you look at Cincinnati's free throw percentage on the season, and not just the season today. They've not been great. 13 and 19, that's good for 68%. Jizzle has it. Full court press coming. Easy. Gives it to Simas. Up ahead for, who is that? Who is that? Newman. They're not fouling. 8-second differential, about 9-second differential between the shot clock and the game clock. Wes Miller calls a timeout. Cincinnati 74, UCF 73. Houdini, pull this up on your phone and join me. Join me, brother. All right, storylines, Bearcats, we have a pulse. That is yet to be determined. We'll get into that. This could be the end of it, or ever so slightly we could hear. We'll see. New look Bearcats. Cats go with the 4-guard lineup from the opening tip, and they stuck with it the entire game. It's the first time we've seen it for 40 minutes of a basketball game all season long. Could we see it for another 5 minutes? Overtime, maybe inevitable here. I'll be sitting here for another 20 minutes. I'll have to grab myself another Corona. Skillings is a star. UC's been looking for their breakout player all season. It's Dan Skillings. He's now reached in double figures 7 straight games. We'll kind of break down what he was doing at the beginning of the year compared to what he's doing now. The rebounding is on another level. Out in transition, he's a freak. Finished some really tough baskets. Had a great first half. We'll go around the Big 12, and we'll talk about Oklahoma State. I can't name one person on Oklahoma State. I have no idea who their coach is. I doubt at this point it's Travis Ford. I have no idea. Nothing about Oklahoma State. I know that they suck. However, I do think that they beat BYU today. But again, that goes back to our Big 12 update. We'll talk about that in a bit. For now, UC has a basketball game to win. 74-73, 22.8. And the hundreds of fans that showed up to Orlando Tech, no. We're not calling them Orlando Tech. That is lousy. It is lame. We are above that. We'll get into that in just a little with my Saturday rant. That's what's on tap. Lukosius triggering. Bearcats up 1, 22.8 on the clock, 13 on the shot clock. Dan Skillings fires it away, tipped into the hands of Lukosius, right wing, driving, spinning, goes baseline all the way to the bucket, and he lays it up and in. Supercalifragilistic Lukosius. Screw you, UCF. 10 seconds to go. Here come the Knights. Sellers fires one up. He wanted the foul. It goes over the hoop. They don't call it. The Zebras on the side of Cincy. Oh, baby. So here's where we stand. 5.7 to go. UC's up 3. Hit some free throws, and the Bearcats are going to have a pulse. A very slight pulse, but we have a pulse, folks. Whew. They were saying that it should have been a foul on Aziz Bandago there. Let's see. Absolutely should have been a foul by Aziz Bandago. but the Cats have been hosed with some calls this season, so we'll take it. You can't challenge that. This is college, baby. There we go. All right, Cody's got UCF as the last leg of a 6 parlay, $268 if they win. How much did you put on that? A 6-leg parlay, and you're only getting cashed out $268? It's been years since I've hit a 6-leg parlay. 5 to win, $268 though. You'll absolutely take that. Go get yourself some Raimondo's Pizza. Yes, Rob. Let's finish off. He's listening at work tonight. Shout out Rob, working hard for the people. The people want Houdini. Yes, they do. Is that Seamoss' second game-winning bucket this year? Yes, he did it against Texas Tech on the road from the elbow. All right, back to reality. 76-73, 5.5 seconds to go. Cincinnati has the basketball. In this situation, ask in the chat room, who do you want to get it to? Seamoss? Jizzle's in. I wouldn't mind Jizzle at the line. He's going to be inbounding. Skilling's also on the floor. Please don't get it to Skillings. John Newman. I'll take Newman. Victor Locken's in. First time today. Wes is like, I can't go a full game without playing Big Vic. He plays so hard for this university. Love it. Get Vic some minutes late. 5.2 to go. That is it's double bonus time for Cincinnati. So here goes Dan Skillings to the free throw line. If he makes one, Johnny Dawkins and the Knights are going to be crying tonight as Cincinnati Bearcats fans live to see another day. Cats controlled from start and hopefully to finish. Skillings missed the free throw. God bless. God bless. If this goes into overtime, I'm not doing a post-game show. It's as simple as that. I don't have a half hour of talking to myself in me today when we should win this game. Skillings free throw. Oh, he missed it! 3 seconds. Foul. Good foul. I love that. 2 seconds left. We've seen that play time and time again go against UC where we don't foul and they come down and hit the three. UC fouls. So UCF is going to have to pull the old Kevin Pittsnoggle. If anyone remembers senior day at the old Fifth Third back in like 2007. Pittsnoggle tried to miss the free throw on purpose. He banked it in. Bearcats win. Pretty sure Cedric McGowan took off his shirt, did the helicopter on the scorer's table. May or may not have. It's been a long time. Free throws from UCF, they made the first. So they got to miss this one on purpose. They have to get the rebound, stick it up and in. For a team that's been out-rebounded today, 45-32, talking about UCF has been out-rebounded by 13. I feel good about the Cats' chances. Game's probably over. I'm watching on a stream on my phone, but we're watching live. Missed it on purpose. UCF, ball on the ground. Time expires. Is it over? Ball game. Final. 76-74. Cincinnati wins. Woo-hoo-hoo! What do you say, Houdini? That would have been a devastating Saturday for you to stay inside all day, get the notes prepped for a game, and then watch a 14-point lead get blown. But we're not doing that today, Houdini. Here's what we're doing. We got the limes. I'm cutting up some limes with a butter knife because it's all we had down here, and we got ourselves a Corona. Give me an opening thought. We'll fire the intro video. We'll let the ghouls hop in the chat room. We're all ghouls today, celebrating a big-time Bearcats win 76-74. What's up?
We will take the W any way we can get it. But my God, man. My God, it's never easy. It's never easy. 14-point lead dwindles. We caught a break, man. That Aziz hacked the shit out of him on that three. I mean, that is a fact. I feel like the refs have killed us in multiple games, but thank God it finally averaged out a little bit. We caught a break. Did I love Skillings getting the ball there when we must hit free throws? Not necessarily, but CMOS had a great foul, played the odds correctly, and we got the W, man. That's all you can ask for.
That is all you can ask for. Chatterbox Bearcats, welcome in, everyone. It has been a minute since we've gotten the chance to do one of these, and whenever we have the chance to do one of these, it seems like it is always on the road. The Road Warriors, Wes Miller and the Cincinnati Bearcats. Let's do it. All right, Houdini, Cincinnati improves too. Let's update that record, Kirby. Nick Kirby on the ones and twos in the back today. He is on the VMix broadcast. Good to have you, Kirby. Maybe we bring you in at the end and ask him to dissect Xavier's 18-point loss to Seton Hall, because Xavier doesn't have a pulse, but screw Xavier. This is Chatterbox Bearcats with Chuck and Houdini. Cincinnati has a pulse, improving to 16-9. 5-7 in the Big 12. And can we ever make it easy, man? Can we ever make it easy? Up double digits in the second half. Had shades of that West Virginia game. I was feeling very scared, but you know what I'm feeling like right now? You know what I'm feeling like right now, Houdini, and it's just slight. It's not big time, but if you listen closely, if you listen ever so closely, what is that? Can you hear it? March, maybe, Cincinnati, Lenardi, first four out, first four in, next four in. What are you thinking, man? Bearcats, where do we stand after a win against UCF? You're the guy that has all the numbers, the Ken Pom metrics. Houdini, the stat nerd. Give it to me, Houdini. Is this a big win for UC, or is it just one that we needed?
Well, it's a big win because it was a must win, right? I was hoping, me being the stat nerd, the analytical guy of the show, right? Net ranking, I think UCF was like 65. So technically a quad 2 win on the road, but we will take it, man. And in this conference, you can lose any. I mean, we just saw, I think you were mentioning it prior, BYU just lost on the road to Oklahoma State. You can lose any damn game on the road. So you got to take this win. And we lose this game, we pack our bags. And Lenardi finally beats us, right? But we got Lenardi on the fence right now. He's terrified. He's like, we got to put them. We'll be riding the bubble for the rest of the year, but at least we live to see another day, man.
I don't know. We have a bunch of big games on the road. Cincinnati still has road matchups at TCU, at Oklahoma, and at Houston. And Cincinnati's winning on the road. They've already beaten BYU on the road. They played one of their best games of the season at Baylor on the road. Maybe their best game of the season against Texas Tech, where the Cats won. And now they go to UCF and control pretty much from start to finish. This is a game that terrified me coming in. We've seen this over the years with Cincinnati, where they have that early Saturday tip at a team that's not that great, where you're already coming off a few losses. You consider it a must-win. Then I go and look at the Action app. All the money was coming in on UCF, which I like. I love being on the house's side. And so we both hammered the Bearcats. Not only are we happy men, we are rich men. We're getting sirloin steaks tonight as the Cats win. But this is a game we typically lose. UCF didn't have C.J. Walker and Shamari Allen in the first game. They had them this time. You texted me and said, I have zero confidence the Cats are going to win this, but if they lose, I'll be furious. You're not furious. Bearcats win. The pregame recipe was beat them by 10-plus on the glass, hold them to under 40%. We did not hold them to under 40% like the Cats did in Game 1. UCF shot it nearly 50% from the floor, but what the Cats did was out-rebound UCF by a dozen and a few more. 14, the final tally, and the Cats get the job done. Let's talk about the new-look Bearcats, man. We've been clamoring for it from day one. 4 guards in the starting lineup. We saw it, and Wes Miller never tinkered with it until the end when he put in Locken with 5 seconds to go.
That was an interesting move. I was sitting there going during the second half, I'm like, wait a minute, Locken hasn't played a second. And, we love Locken, like we said, what he did for the program, but it was the right move at this point in time. In a must-win scenario, he has been, in la-la land when he's on the basketball court. And we went small. We finally started our best player, which it's shocking it took this long to do. But putting Skillings in that lineup, going small. You could see the offense is just more fluid, man. I mean, offensively, were we fantastic? No, we shot 27% from three. Nothing special. But you can just see the fluid, the way the offense moves is just much more cohesive. There's more ball movement. There's more guys that can penetrate and shoot from the perimeter. So I loved what I saw. We made it much harder than it needed to be tonight. I mean, we should have won this game by 10 points, but, John Rothstein, get your nitroglycerin pills ready. That's basically just Bearcats. That's the story of the season. You're going to have a heart attack 6 or 7 times during a game, but luckily we came out on the right side, man.
Yes, we did. 76-74 in favor of the Cincinnati Bearcats. Cats win, Cats cover. Box score looked as such. 15 for Dan Skillings. He had 8 rebounds, 15 and 8. What doesn't Dan Skillings do? Aziz Bandago, 13 points, 8 rebounds, 2 blocks. I have a lot of words to say on Aziz Bandago in a bit. I mean, he is a roller coaster ride to watch offensively, but man, is he important for this team. Thank God for Dave Yost. It's something that we're going to get into in just a bit, especially with the way Locken's playing. Can you imagine Locken and Oguama had Dave Yost not come through? It would be a completely different story. Day Thomas, 9 points. He fouled out. Simas Lukosius had 12 and 2 assists. Jizzle James had 7 points in 14 minutes. Jameel Reynolds had 6 points in 14 minutes. CJ Frederick, 5 points in 14 minutes. Hit a big-time 3. It was awesome seeing CJ knock one down. John Newman, 6 points and 5 rebounds. Josh Reed, 3 points, 3 rebounds. And Victor Locken, no points, no shots, no nothing. He played 5.7 seconds of the game, but he was on the floor for the victory formation. And let me tell you what, Wes Miller talked about it at the beginning of the game with Dan Horde about how he doesn't want to hear, he didn't say this directly, but this is kind of what I took away from it. Cats fans were kind of booing when Locken was on the floor last time, and he said, we're not going to have any of that. I don't even know if he said that. But he basically said, this guy's important to the program. When Mike Saunders, and he didn't name any of these guys, I am, because this is what we do. We spit the facts. Mike Saunders and Gabe Madsen and Mason Madsen, those twins, and Zach Harvey and Tari Eason, they all went elsewhere. They said, Cincinnati kind of stinks. We're not doing good right now. Guess who stuck around? Victor Locken. He wanted to be a part of this. He wanted to be in the first season of the Big 12. He's not playing good basketball right now, but we're going to stick with him because he's stuck with us. And do you have any words for Vic? I just want to say right now, keep your head up. I know he's watching. Keep your head up, Vic. We all love you. We're all cheering for you. We yell because we care. We're an emotional fan base. You're our guy, Vic. And I love that he was on the bench today, not pouting. He was, first one standing up, clapping all over the place, had the passion there. So, Vic Locken, this win is dedicated to you. Final 5.7 seconds. You were on the floor when it mattered.
No, absolutely. And we love Vic, and I think it's a testament to how Wes runs his teams. His guys ride or die for him. You're not seeing guys sulking on the bench, especially in this day and age, man. People transfer if, they don't like the shoes the coach is wearing, right? Like anything that happens, they're like, I'm going to BYU next year. And it seems like he keeps everybody happy, and sometimes he sticks with his guys to a fault. But you're right. Victor Locken stuck around when we were in a tough spot, and he's not playing good ball right now. He has the potential. I want Victor Locken on this roster next year, and he definitely has that talent and that ability. I'm sick of – you don't want to boo a goddamn 20-year-old, right? Like, I get it when you're at Paul Brown Stadium and booing, whatever, John Ross because he can't catch a damn football. He got paid $10 million, right? Victor Locken, he's a kid, and right now he's not the answer for this roster. That could change. There's definitely a scenario in which we get deep into the Big 12 tournament, which we will. We know this. And we get foul trouble, right? Reynolds, Aziz, all those guys. We need a Victor Locken to come in, and he can produce. So we'll see what happens. But, yeah, I mean, I think Wes made the right move to take him out of the lineup. I didn't think he'd go this drastic. It is wild. Like 2 days ago, he was the starting guy. He was like your guy, and then he just doesn't play a second. Wild. I don't know if you listened to the podcast. 5 point, you're right. He played 5 seconds, which is also ridiculous. Like, what if he got the ball there after not playing for 40 minutes and had to shoot the free throws to seal the game? Like, you can't expect anybody to do that. So I thought that was bizarre in itself, but It worked out, man. It worked out.
Well, they needed a big in there for obvious reasons, and out of Jameel Reynolds and Aziz Bandaogo, you're going to take Victor Locken in that situation. So I think it's smart coaching. Here's the deal. We have someone in the chat room right now saying Yost. I'm going to give it to you, everyone. I'm going to give you a big one. Hold on. Let me get a big swig of my Corona first. You have one, by the way? We can do a little cheers. I know that we've been talking about you popping that champagne since the Xavier game. I was saying, why don't you pop it today? It's a road win. Come on, celebrate. It's a Saturday.
Chuck, we're a top 15 program all time. I'm popping champagne because we beat UCF, the 66th ranked net team in the country. I mean, where do you draw the line? I can't be doing that. I'll be popping champagne every damn game we play. What's next? We pop one against Stetson?
No. Here we go. Yost! Yost! Don't you take out Bandaogo, Yost! How about Dave Yost? Back in November, we talked about how Dave Yost was going to be the hero of the season. We were playing, There Goes My Hero, because he was. The Ohio Attorney General held the keys to getting Aziz Bandaogo and Jameel Reynolds eligible. And at the time, it was massive, and now when we look back on it, with Odi Oguama not playing a minute and Victor Locken playing 5.7 seconds, what would this season look like had these two not been eligible? Let's talk about Aziz Bandaogo first. What are your thoughts overall on Bandaogo? Is he what you expected from Utah Valley? Not what you expected, or somewhere right around it?
Well, not what I expected because, granted, I was actually just talking about this. We watched him play one game, and he looked like he was Anthony Davis, okay? So I was expecting, when he came over, I'm like, this guy might be a lottery pick in the damn draft. He's that good. And Dan Horde kind of said the same thing. He was like, that's an NBA talent. He's not there yet, but a lot of people, his offensive ability is very limited, but he changes the way every player, when they drive the lane, you saw a couple missed layups today just because he's there. And it changes the dynamic of the entire defense to have a rim protector like that. So I love me some Aziz, man. He has his moments. He hit a couple big free throws, right? He hit some very clutch free throws that we needed. So, yeah, I'm an Aziz guy, man.
I just pointed to the Jason Maxiel, man. Aziz is 55, though. Kind of thought he was 54.
Oh, excuse me. I stand corrected as the analytics guy. A quad one win is actually top 75 net rankings. UCF was 66. That counts as it stands as a quad one win. I know, I think Kirby just put in there that's a quad one win. Bro, he is right. That's a quad one win. Massive for us.
How about it? 2 months ago, we were complaining about how Wes Miller had 2 quad one wins in his career. I think in the last 3 road games Cincinnati has played, they've picked up 3 quad one wins. That's not right at all. Because it was Texas Tech. They lost at West Virginia. But throw in the last 6 road games the Bearcats have played, they've picked up 3 quad one wins. But going back to Yost and going back to Bandaogo, my take about him. When we watched him play at Utah Valley, and maybe it was just because he was playing against our bigs, and our bigs weren't great last year, the American really exposed them in certain ways defensively. But Aziz, to me, looked like polished. And then I saw that Duke wanted him in the offseason, and I was like, all right, this guy is a potential, first team all Big 12. You get it to him down low, he's going to finish. He's got great hands, and he does have great hands. He gets the ball, he catches it high, well above the rim, and you wish that most of the time he would just flush it home, but if he's not flushing at home, he's falling over. It's like one of two things. You get the best of both worlds from him. You get some comedy, and you get some amazing throwdowns. But you give it to him on the block, and it's a little bit of a roller coaster ride. The fact that Cincinnati has him next season as well, give him some offensive development in the offseason during the summer. Aziz, man, he has been clutch for the Bearcats this year and had a big-time game today with the 13 points and the 8 rebounds, 2 block shots, only with 2 fouls. I mean, Cincinnati's bigs have done a great job of not getting in foul trouble this season and having to force them to throw in an Oguama or whatever. But today they stuck with the 4-guard lineup throughout. Josh Reed got some minutes, knocked down a 3. As we mentioned, did not see much of Victor Locken. But that's kind of where we stand with the bigs right now. On to Dan Skillings, who got his first start in a while since Victor Locken was out, and he made the most of it. He was dynamite in the first half, finished with 15 points in the game. Dan Skillings is the Bearcats' best player. Is it finally safe to say that?
Absolutely. He's the best player on the team. His next step would be just to polish up some of this stuff. Like his efficiency right now isn't great. He was 5 for 14. But, as a team, when you shoot 40% from the field day in and day out, we'll take it. I mean, he had, 15, 8, 2 assists, a steal, a block. The guy can do it all just by being on the court. He's gonna change the game. He's definitely our go-to guy, and we're seeing good stuff, and nobody really was that efficient besides Aziz really from the field today. But Seamoss as well, man. I think he has kind of grown into what we expected when he transferred in. I think he's been very solid for us. He's one of the few guys that I trust with the basketball in his hand, not to just turn it over in some – granted, he had 3 tonight. I think he actually led the team. But –
hey, facts.
Those two –
screw the facts. Who cares about facts? This is not a facts podcast.
No, but we see – we love Day-Day and Jizzle, but we see them turn the ball over a little bit too much. Obviously, the Iowa State thing was maybe an anomaly because Iowa State is that damn good on the defensive end. But overall, I mean, what did we finish in turnovers? 11 turnovers tonight. It's amazing what you can do when you don't turn the ball over every possession. You can actually win games.
You know who didn't win the broadcast today was ESPN Plus. You already know what I'm going to say. They're talking about Jizzle James, who had a nice little stretch in the first half. And they say, oh, look who it is. It's Edgerrin James. Jizzle's dad is in attendance tonight as Jizzle played right down the road at Olympia. Edgerrin is here. There is the Hall of Famer. One big problem for that 10 seconds that he was on the screen. Everyone nowadays have camera phones. You didn't even catch it real time. I brought it up in the group. You rewinded and took the picture. Within 15 minutes, I saw about 500 pictures of fake Edgerrin James on Twitter. Who the hell was that guy? I was saying earlier, it was like Biggie McLean's cousin that just happened to live in Florida and didn't even look like Edgerrin James, but had the chain on, and they're like, hey, that's got to be Edgerrin, right? He looks athletic. No, it was just some random dude. What the hell was that? Yeah,
little did that guy know he was going to all of a sudden be a Hall of Fame running back. He just came to the game. He's just like a local dude down in Central Florida. He's like, yep, apparently I'm Edgerrin James. I'm Edgerrin James Jr.'s dad now.
Yeah.
It was the craziest part was that the broadcast, like, listen, I think I know a little bit of what Edgerrin James looks like even before, I know he's been out of the league for a while, but even before Jizzle came to UC, the broadcaster just went on like, yep, there he is. There he is, Edgerrin James, the Hall of Fame running back. I'm like, nobody was, hey, that looks literally nothing like him. Edgerrin James is probably pissed. Edgerrin James, I mean, this guy wasn't, he was a fine-looking individual.
He's husky.
But Edgerrin James is in, like, incredible shape. I mean, just like built like a brick shithouse still. And they threw on, like, Mike Jones from, like, 2002 on the broadcast. So it was very interesting. ESPN Plus, you never know what you're going to get, man.
Yeah, that's a MySpace top 5 best UC moments this season. It goes in the record books with, I'd say the Howard broadcast was up there when Aziz Bandago decapitated someone's grandma at the BYU game. That was a pretty good one. We have a few moments that have made the list. We'll compile that for the Bearcatsbees at the end of the season that we're going to get into. My overall takeaway from this game before we get into the Big 12 is just that Cincinnati's super inconsistent. They look great for stretches. 30 minutes of this game, Cats looked elite. 10 minutes, they let UCF climb back in it. Can we ever just make it look easy? Like one game, every single team in this conference gets blown out once. They blow out another team once. It's their game and not the other team's. You win by 15 points. You get the walk-ons some run. I mean, hell, I don't even know who our walk-ons are at this point. Forget the days of Pat Watt, John Meeker, Ryan Patzwald, and Brandon Miller, and Alex Eppensteiner. Shout out Eppensteiner, friend of the program. Different days, man. Like, where are these guys? They're not playing because every game goes down to the final possession. I mean, Jesus.
It's actually a good point. Like, what are the walk-on minutes? Like, they've like CJ Anthony. Like the whole thing is when you're a walk-on, it's like you got to go to practice, do all this bullshit to essentially never play. But you get your moment. You get your moment at home. You're actually playing, a Power 5 team. You get to launch up a couple threes. These guys, it's been stolen away from them because we can't figure out how to pull a game out and actually win by 10 plus. So, yeah, shout out. Granted, the social media for UC does a great job. They will consistently put our walk-ons on, like, the social media page like they're, the best player on the team. So they get their run, I guess, just via, Instagram and Twitter. So they're getting something, and they're getting the Jordan gear. But, yeah, I would like to see my guy CJ Anthony out there launching a couple threes when we're up 15.
That's all we ask. Bearcats. Just put them away. You were up 14 for a decent bit of the second half from 8 to 14 points. Just win by 11. You don't always have to take it down to the final possession. I don't know what nitroglycerin pills are, and I don't want to buy them, and I'm struggling. The heart is just boom. But we have a pulse, man.
Yeah, like the stream, everybody. Like the stream.
Like the stream right now. And while you're at it, grab your phones, go onto Spotify or Apple Podcasts, subscribe to Chatterbox Bearcats if you haven't already. That's where the podcast form drops in the morning, this same show. So if you missed the YouTube, you're all good. And give it 5 stars. Give it 5 stars and give us a funny comment. Give us something. The more comments, the more it pops into the algorithm and reaches other Bearcats fans, and that's what we love to do. Just 2 Bearcats fans talking Bearcats to the community. And I ask all Bearcats fans to please listen to this PSA. Can we please stop with the Orlando Tech nonsense? Stop it. We're better than that. This is not a rivalry. And football, sure, say whatever you want. Basketball, UCF, this is now 4 straight wins. It's like 25 of 29. This has never been a rivalry. UCF is a garbage program. Sorry about it to those of you in Orlando that are hopping into the show, because you guys probably don't even have a post-game show because you're irrelevant. You guys stink. So stop with the Orlando Tech. It's stupid. I think it's only the Twitter crowd that does it. The real Bearcats fans, we don't call them Orlando Tech. We call them another win on the schedule. That's 2 this season. That's 2 thus far, Shooter. Oh, good. You can count. And you can count on another win in the conference tournament, UCF. Screw you. All right, Houdini. What do you think, though? You agree with me there? The Orlando Tech, it's cheesy. It's just knock it off. You guys are embarrassing yourself if you say that.
Yeah, no, I'm. Some of the Twitter stuff going on is a little bit. It's a little corny to say the least. A little cringe, as the kids call it. UCF has I hope somebody UCF Twitter like screen grabs whatever you just said there, takes a snippet of that, because they are, if not, they're one of the most just vile Twitter groups out there in the Big 12 at a minimum. They are
care about the
savages. I would have never guessed that UCF has like a diehard fan base. They do. They have it's a massive school, I guess. There's a shitload of alums that come out of UCF. They're savages. Bearcat Matt is probably right now on Twitter like firing off like 86 tweets talking shit to UCF fans. That's probably what's going on right now, because it's a war zone out there, man.
No doubt about it. Let's talk about the tier right now of Big 12 teams. We did earlier in the year the tier of who are the best teams, who were all right, who were the worst. It's hard to say because the league is so congested. We know who the best teams are. So let's do the teams we hate, the teams that we think we will hate at some point, the teams we don't mind, and the teams that, quite frankly, we feel bad for. I'll start with the teams we hate, first of all. I think it's safe to say we don't like Houston whatsoever. I have come to the conclusion that I don't like Iowa State. Their fans are great. They're trolls. Cyclone Larry cracks me the hell up. I'll say Houston, Iowa State, as of right now, I hate them. I don't have the hate in me towards Kansas. I respect them. I think I will hate Kansas. I'll start off with those 3, give you the floor, and let you kind of plug in some holes.
So, hate them. Yeah, I had Houston. I know Texas is going to be out here in a second, but I hate
Texas and Texas, Oklahoma, don't worry about them, and then we won't add in Arizona and all those other teams until next year. So forget Texas, forget Oklahoma. You can delete that, Kirby. We don't care about Texas. They're not in our conference anymore. It's over.
I'm still pissed we can't do horns down to Texas for the years to come, because clearly it infuriates people beyond belief. But yeah, Houston is going to be up there. And to be fair, though, we haven't got into the mix enough with these teams. Like when I was when you sent me this, going down the list, I'm like, I don't really hate many of these teams. It was really Houston, and that's really from the American. Bill Self's toupee is obviously up there. Is just one of the most hated things that I have in college basketball. Other than that, you got teams kind of in the middle for me. The think I will hate them, the TCUs, the Texas Techs, Iowa State. And Iowa State might just be good between me and you. I know we're actually on a live show. A good team just to start to hate, to get the fans riled up, because they talk about another fan base that's kind of underrated. When I went to Nippert Stadium and watched us get our ass beat by Iowa State, I was shocked by the amount of Iowa State fans that were in the crowd talking shit to me the entire game. I'm like, listen, I know Emory Jones isn't great. Like, can you guys give me a break? Just give me a break for a second. So I'd say Houston, TCU, Texas Tech, Iowa State are kind of in my top tier of teams that I'm anticipating I will hate.
Okay. I'm thinking Baylor. I'm never going to mind them. West Virginia, I've never hated West Virginia. I got relatives that go there. Great fan base, fun school. Your sister went to West Virginia. Like, West Virginia to me.
Both sisters.
Yeah, both sisters. So we don't hate the Mountaineers.
Come on.
Kansas, I don't think I'm going to mind them unless their fans start coming on these post-game shows like they did first one, then potentially. BYU, I think I already hate them. Screw BYU. TCU, I think I already hate them just because Jamie Dixon, it's like the Pittsburgh days. He's coming in the post-game shows like, well, that's something we're not used to, losing to Cincinnati. It's like, we beat you all the time at Pittsburgh, you idiot. Go back to Whoville. So screw TCU. And then Kansas State, I kind of feel bad for them right now. They're the little brothers in their own state. They kind of remind me of us right now, unfortunately. I don't feel bad for us.
Did Kansas State go to how deep did they go in the tournament last year? Were they in the Final Four?
Elite Eight.
Elite Eight. Yeah, I don't feel bad for an Elite Eight. Like, get me to the Elite Eight for a second, Chuck, and then we can act like we're in the same ballpark. It's been a minute since UC has been in the Elite Eight. I don't
think I will hate them
right now.
We'll up them to think I will hate them, Kansas State, and then we'll put UCF, feel bad for them, and Oklahoma State, we feel bad for them as well. And then aside from that, the experiment is over, but basically what I was saying is there's just not a lot of teams right now in the Big 12 where there's these natural rivalries with. Where are we going to find the rivalries? I don't know, but like you said, Iowa State, Houston, two of them right now that I'm not liking by any means. Let's go throughout the Big 12. Cincinnati, 76, UCF, 74. We're going to mention that as many times as possible, folks. TCU goes on the road, beats Kansas State on a last-second three, 75-72. TCU probably stamps their resume. They're heading to the tournament. Kansas State at 5-7, the Big 12. They have to win at Cincinnati coming up here soon if they want to keep their hopes alive. So that'll be a huge game for both UC and Kansas State. How about the Pokes? Oklahoma State destroys BYU. Number 19 BYU, I should say, 93-83. Iowa State. I think Iowa State's the best team in this conference, everyone. I said it. Iowa State is the best team in the Big 12, or at least playing the best basketball. 82-74. I'm taking the Cyclones to the Final Four regardless of who they match up with, and they'll probably lose first round. But 82-74, they take down Texas Tech on their home floor. Kansas goes on the road and beats Oklahoma 67-57. That is something I think Cincinnati can do. Go into Oklahoma and split with the Sooners. I think they are very beatable. Kansas wins by 10. Houston, 82. Texas, 61. How in the hell did the Bearcats lose to Texas? I'll go back to that last-second shot by Asmus all season long because Texas is not great. They're now 5-7 in the Big 12. Houston improves to 9-3. And West Virginia is losing to Baylor right now in Morgantown, 33-24. Next up for Cincinnati, pull it up, Kirby. Who do we have next? It's Oklahoma State. It's on Wednesday at 7 p.m. We said on the last show, UCF, Oklahoma State, you go 2-0 against those two teams. And that song we were talking about earlier, that we were playing just a little bit, and we were playing it ever so slightly. You know, it was down here. It was down at this range. If the Bearcats beat Oklahoma State, it's going to slowly start to go. I'm lying. It'll stay down here because it's Oklahoma State and they are dog water. They're not good whatsoever. But it's a game that the Bearcats need to win. No doubt about it. So Cincinnati and Oklahoma State on Wednesday. Any final words before we give out a shout to the chat room and move on with our day? is Cincinnati gets a W. This show's fun when they win, man.
No, I mean we got Oklahoma State. No, that's not gonna change our projections in the NCAA tournament. It's a lose scenario. If we lose, then we're absolutely screwed. The thing that'll change our projection is going to be that TCU Saturday 3:00 that after Oklahoma State. If we win that game, then we can start pumping that music a little bit more. You're getting a little too ahead of your skis here, Chuck. We beat Oklahoma State, who's like 10-14. Where all of a sudden, like, Lenardi's like, they're locked. They're going to be a 6 seed. No, I don't believe so. We have plenty of opportunities. Tonight was a must-win. We got it done. Move on to Oklahoma State. And as we saw, Oklahoma State has the ability to beat almost anybody on their home floor. So you got to gear up, man.
I never said we'd be a lock. I'm just saying this music can, fade in from the background if you beat Oklahoma State. Because then you have opportunities, man. You have opportunities. You're starting to put together a nice little resume. Committee cares about who you beat on the road. That's now a quad 1 win over UCF. The fact that that's a quad 1 win is a little much. But, I mean, BYU, UCF, Texas Tech, you're starting to rack them up on the road, man, to where we can start to bring this up a little, and we're close to getting a little Sorrentine from the parking lot. Ow! So why not? Why not, man? Let's
get 2 Big 12 wins in a row. I don't know do we have a single stretch where we've won 2 in a row in the Big 12? I don't believe so. So let's
history,
just
football
get that,
or basketball. Yeah.
Yeah, so let's start that. I think it's time to start a stretch where we actually win multiple games in a row. So, and I know it's tough in this conference when you're battling like this every damn game. We need to get 2. Come on, Wes.
Come on, Wes. 2 in a row. All right, Kirby had to run. He's going to the grocery store, loading up on some goods for the rest of the week. Bearcats loaded up on the goods today, walking out of Orlando with a 76-74 win. Subscribe to the show wherever you get your audio podcast. Give us 5 stars, and we will see you on Wednesday night after the Bearcats hopefully make it 2 in a row, take down Oklahoma, and ever so slightly, in the background, Houdini, I'll give you one more for the end of this. Bandego on the block.
I love it.
Oh, he throws it down. Cats win. See you, dude.
Later.